Welcome to Texas Platinum, the last of the real water cooler talk shows on YouTube. I'm Trevor, joined by both Matts, and Texas has beaten Alabama, one of the biggest road victories in program history. We're here to break that down, as well as talk just a little bit about the Wyoming game coming up on Saturday. But we gotta celebrate. We gotta get into this big Bama victory, and there's a ton to discuss. So, with all that said, like, comment, subscribe, all the usual. Thank you guys for watching, checking us out. Means a lot. But yeah, let's hop into it. Myers was fortunate enough to be at the game, see it live from the top of Bryant Denny. I got to hand it to you first, man. Tell us, just share your experience. SEC, road game, big win in a place where it's impossible to win.
I would say this is probably the best weekend of my life, football life for sure. I mean, let me tell you this, guys. If you're a Longhorn and you want to go meet some beautiful women, you go to an SEC game when the Longhorns are playing and wear Texas gear. The amount of horns downs that you get, it's insane. So it was incredible. I mean, the Bama people were so nice. And Longhorns showed out. I mean, there was a lot of burnt orange. I don't know if y'all could hear on the broadcast, but whenever Texas scored, that stadium was electric. Like, I was sitting with nothing but burnt orange in the upper decks, and it was an incredible weekend. Alabama, Tuscaloosa, very nice. I heard it was ghetto, but I didn't think so. I thought it was very nice, small town. That's kind of my scene anyway. So I really enjoyed Tuscaloosa. We stayed in Birmingham, but yeah, the tailgating in Tuscaloosa was amazing. It was like the Grove, I would say, how I envisioned the Grove being in Oxford. It looked just like it. And they know what they're doing when it comes to tailgating and game day. And Bryant Denny was just beautiful. Cathedral of college football. You could feel the history there. And yeah, I was in the upper decks with the band right next to the band, and it was an incredible day, man. And when Texas won that game, I was looking around at all the Texas fans, and like we had everybody was hugging everybody. People had lost their minds. Like, you could tell, like, this was cathartic. We had not had anything like this. This is not Notre Dame 2016. This is way bigger than that, and we all know that, of course. But guys, we called this all offseason. We always knew, at least I always had this feeling like we're going to win in Alabama. Like, it was never a doubt. I mean, week one we looked kind of shaky, but sure enough, we went into Alabama, pushed them around. We were the better team, clearly. And man, it was just, it's still like is surreal to think about, and it's just so exciting to see. Like, we got a whole season left to see what this team can do, because this team looks like the real deal all across the board. So it was incredible. I recommend going to Tuscaloosa next time we play there in Bryant Denny, and I'm excited to be in the SEC. It's definitely a step up from the Big 12 venues we've been at.
Madrid, any initial thoughts?
Yeah,
we watched it not there.
I mean, yeah, I was in the comfort of my home, my family, but that was still the second best experience here, I think. I'm just kidding. But I think it really gives us validation of what we've been, I guess, for lack of a better term, complaining about for all these years. We knew what good football looks like. We knew what a good organization, a top-down, bottom-up, however you want to see it, organization should look. And I don't know, that just validates all the pain we kind of went through. One thing that I think that makes this different from like other teams going in and beating Bama, one, it was at home, but it wasn't like we caught them slipping or something. Because even when Bama lost those games, they were still the better team and the tougher team. It just didn't go their way that day. This time when we came in and we were the better team, we were the team that looked buttoned up, like we had our stuff together. And that's what's really like resonating with me a lot. That makes me feel like this isn't just some flash in the pan, and it's not some playing up or playing down to competition. Like, Bama had to play up to our standard in this game. Like, that's who's chasing who when the well, like previewing this game, it was talking about how are we gonna go play up to their standard, and as soon as kickoff happened, there was a little there's something different in the air. And I think that's just beautiful to see. I don't want to get too ahead of myself when I'm thinking projecting the rest of the season, but I'm very encouraged where we're at, and I think the Big 12 is just barbecue chicken. I think we go in there and take that. So yeah, I'm just happy to be validated after all these years.
Yeah, for sure. I think first and foremost, I mean, we're going to get into all the players here in a moment, but I think you got to start with Sark and his staff, giving them props. I mean, they had this team very well prepared. Sark called an exceptional game, maybe the best he's ever called in his tenure here. Like it was just super balanced, right plays at the right time. Defensively, gotta give PK a lot of props too. I mean, all around the staff just knocked this one out of the park. I mean, you could, again, I wasn't at the game, unfortunately, but from what I saw on TV, the staff looked very calm, collected, confident. I never saw any nerves, really any doubt when we were down momentarily in the fourth quarter. They just looked very much in control and confident that they truly believed in this team and really believed that they could win this game without a lot of concern. That's an incredible turnaround, especially after these previous two seasons, especially the first season. I mean, that was 5-7 team, and you could tell there were ups and downs and emotions with the staff, with the players, and it's very easy to rattle them and the team, and it just looks entirely different everywhere. And again, we're gonna get in the players here right after this, but they just killed it, and it starts there. It starts with the development. It starts with all the conditioning, and just how this team's been assembled. I mean, some of the players that we're going to go through and give props to are players that even in like the off season leading up to this, we were not talking about. Looking ahead here, we were not really talking about Ethan Burke. David Benda, we were not talking about. Like he was like a guy on the bench that we might have to play because we lost DeMarvion Overshown. And he's like one of the stars. Both of those guys are like the stars of the defense. DJ Campbell, Cole Hudson. Again, we'll touch on them later, but like players that have been almost viewed as weaknesses were some of the biggest stars in this game. And props to them, obviously, but also big props to this staff for just coming in super buttoned up and having this team ready to go and then killing it on all ends of play calling and everything like that. So cannot be overstated. This is a massive win for all of them, for the staff, for Sark. This is his biggest win of his career up to this point. And I'm ready to see him just take off, into the stratosphere because he needed this. He needed that reputation to kind of be cleared because prior to this, a lot of people said, great offensive mind, great recruiter, but can't win the big games, 7-win Sark, all that. That's done now. And now he's going to be the next, prodigy of Nick Saban assistants, like Kirby Smart was. I could very easily, I think everyone at this point can see him being, he's the next, I mean, Kirby Smart's defense, I get that, but you know what I mean? The next great coach to come off of the Nick Saban tree.
Yeah, man. Sark is killing it. This was the game that we knew that, like, if we lost this, it wouldn't be a wash. And even if we won it, it wouldn't make us. But it's the way that we won the game, just the more disciplined team. It looked like Alabama was the away team with all the pre-snap penalties coming from Bama's side, just the lack of composure. I mean, at the end of the game, like you tweeted out, Trevor, them jumping off sides and Texas just looking so like we're just playing chess with these guys, and we just easily got them. Game over. So yeah, man, Sark's earning his money. Let's see if he can handle consistency. Of course, it's a long season to the rest of the way, but let's see how he handles success. But man, Sark's killing it. Let's talk about Quinn Ewers for a second. I think we should go to that first. All right, I'm not going to say much. I'll get us started here though, but Quinn Ewers played the game of his life Saturday night, and I pretty much was of the thought, and I think we all are of the thought, pretty much every Longhorn fan, that if Quinn Ewers plays good, we win the game. I mean, we had an equal team or maybe a better team, and then probably a better quarterback. If Quinn shows up, we're going to win. And Quinn, he was Joe Cool back there. I think it was very reminiscent of Joe Burrow. Like, he was just unfazed, like stepping up in the pocket, throwing dimes. I loved his passion, man. Trevor has it here in the outline. He was yelling. He was animated, but not too animated. He wasn't Baker Mayfield animated. He was composed when he needed to be, but when he threw a nice bomb, which connected, by the way, those deep balls were on point this weekend. He would let out a scream, and you could tell the team was just galvanized around him. Like they were playing for Quinn. And I mean, we get back to Austin at 2 a.m. and you could see like on Twitter that they're chanting, like Jadae Barron's leading a chant like Quinn is the GOAT. Like Quinn is that guy, and this team is right behind him. So hopefully it just keeps getting better and better. But that's the kind of guy you need to win like a national title, is like Quinn at the helm. So that was just amazing, man. Before I pass it to y'all, I was in the upper decks like super high.
I wanted to ask you about where I think you're going. How high was that?
Go.
How high was that rainbow ball?
Yeah, bro, it's so interesting.
They both were coming to where I was at in our end zone.
Oh, that's sick.
The first one especially.
Yeah.
I remember me and my buddy, we were like, what is this duck? Like, this is a duck. What is going on here? This is Case McCoy throwing a duck at Baylor in 2013. But then we keep watching, and Worthy keeps accelerating, and it's like, is this gonna land in the end zone? Like, and then beautifully thrown, just dime to Worthy. And balls like that, like Sark was saying, allows the receivers to adjust to it and track it like a center fielder. And that's what happened with Worthy. Props to him for catching that ball. And then, of course, Adonai Mitchell's too was super high in the air. And what I liked about the first one, Worthy, the throw that Quinn threw, he like threw that ball and like he left his hand like a basketball player, like loosey goosey, like above his head. It was cool looking. I've never seen that out of a quarterback. And Quinn is definitely he's got his own brand of football that he plays as a quarterback, and it's really fun to watch. So hopefully he keeps getting better. That deep ball, I think it just takes one to get him going, and he's finally got one. So hopefully from here on out, it's just second nature to him, and he's not overthinking it anymore going forward. But let me pass it to y'all, boys. What did y'all think about Quinn? And just talk about whatever.
Go ahead, Trevor. Go first.
Okay. Yeah, all the same thoughts. He was very accurate this game. His completion numbers were not like they were very good. They weren't like incredible, but I think you could blame that more on the receivers dropping the ball in a lot of key moments or fumbling or stuff like that, which was really the only negative about the game. But honestly, like there really weren't any balls that it was just off. He was very on point. Hitting people in stride, hitting people in the hands. We tweeted out, I think his best throw of the night was that pass in the end zone that he completed to Adonai Mitchell. That was just an absolute thing of beauty. Just totally dropped it in the bucket. Fantastic coverage by Kool-Aid. And you can't defend that. Like, that's one of the best secondary players in college football. And he was playing great defense. You can't defend that, when you're that perfect. Just fantastic. Led the team like a captain, celebrated, handled the interview well afterward. Nothing but great things for Quinn. It really did come down to him in this game. And he played game of his life. Again, I think the numbers could be even better. I think he could have left this game with 5 touchdowns, maybe even more, rather than 3, and completely put himself right in the front of the Heisman race if it wasn't for a few dropped balls. But just unbelievable, very accurate, very impressive. Curious to see if this is just the start and he continues this all season, or if this was kind of like last season where we saw him look great against Alabama, great against Oklahoma, but then had some kind of negative performances after that and kind of went up and down. Curious if this is now standard, or are we going to see those waves whenever the big games come? What I do love, though, is this shows that Quinn is a gamer because Oklahoma game, fantastic. Alabama last year before he got hurt, fantastic. This game, fantastic. So whenever the lights are the brightest, I feel like this guy's performing, which is good. Also kind of bad, though, because Big 12 this year is not looking that great. So we have to win these games coming up. Like, we just have to, or we're out, is kind of the unfortunate reality. But also, it's not like the big name opponents like in Alabama or anything. So we'll see. We'll see if this becomes the standard. I'm hoping so. Everyone's hoping so. But nonetheless, being a gamer, I don't think is a bad thing either. And rising to the biggest moments is great. Better than the opposite.
I think, just to take a broader, big picture stance, I think what Quinn's personality before this game kind of did him a disservice. Our last great quarterback, Mr. Ellinger, was a Superman presence. Like, he was just a literal superhero carrying the team. And I think a lot of fans and a lot of players could get behind that. Quinn's a quiet, like a soft mannered person. He's a quiet demeanor type of guy. But he has passion.
Show.
Yeah, that's a good comp right there. But better.
Well, I mean, much better than
I
Shane.
know. I'm just thinking about, like, man, I wish Shane was that good. Things would be a lot different. So yeah, but I think he comes out with passion at the right time. You can tell. Just some of ESPN does, well, most major broadcasting sites do such a great job of from the television, from the screen, to like see kind of how big the moment is. And there was a few shots of like Quinn in a side profile, and he's looking at the sideline for the play, and the background, and you could just tell Bama fans are going crazy. It's a big down, and you could just see it in his eyes a little bit. Like, this guy's not. This guy's like, he's in his own world right now. He's just focused on doing his job and executing. And it does remind me of Joe Burrow and how he executed that season. With that being said, I think he made himself a good chunk of money this game too. There was some growth, some maturity that you saw. He was way more. I mean, granted, our O-line did a great job of keeping him clean, but like when the walls were closing in a few times, he did not. I thought he was going to, because sometimes Quinn, when the walls were closing in, he'd like try to get out and he'd like stumble a little bit on his feet. He looked like a baby deer out there. But I think he did a good job of controlling his footwork in there. You brought up your favorite throw. I'm gonna bring up my favorite throw. I don't remember. I think it was in the third quarter, probably mid third quarter. I think they maybe just tied it, or they maybe just got one score, or they just took the lead. I don't remember when it was, but it was a third down, and if we punt here, momentum's shifting for sure. And it's a third down, and the walls are closing in. Quinn steps up into the pocket. There's nowhere else to him to go. The center, like in the nose, or battling right in front of him, and he just lets one launch in the middle of the field to Whittington, and it was money. And I was like, "That's a big boy throw. Yeah. That's a big boy throw. That's an adult throw." Knowing that the walls are closing in, and you delivered a strike that tore their heart out of the other team. Joe Burrow did that to us. Like, I know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of one of those. Was like, damn, we were so close to getting him, and then just chains are moving. I'm so proud of his ability, or his growth in that regard. He has a unique way of throwing the deep ball. I will not lie. There's a lot of air on that thing, more than I personally kind of like. But if they get it figured out, then that's the way that the deep ball is getting delivered, and that's okay. On top of that, I'm just more proud of like the resolve that he had. The way he looked like he inspired the team, man. And I'm glad that we have a team that is so dedicated to him to being our QB, so we can just kind of like just collectively move forward and just hope that we can just get more overall well-rounded performances from this team, because it sucks having a quarterback question per se every week, because that's like it feels like it's the only thing like in the way, if that makes sense. But yeah, it just tremendous growth from Quinn. And I'm glad that he's finally coming along and looking like that perfect rated best recruit ever, like that 5-star he is. And it feels good.
One more quick thing I wanted to add. He cleaned up his footwork. He was not throwing off his back foot. He was, I mean, maybe there were a few times where he kind of did that, but it was a noticeable improvement, which, you know, if you can complete the passes without doing that, fine. But the fact was he wasn't without setting his feet, and clearly he watched the film and addressed it in some way to where now he's setting his feet more. And you can see it. I mean, again, the numbers don't lie. The completed passes don't lie. So that was another favorite part of mine to see, was just him truly, that shows that he's really paying attention and being attentive to his craft.
And then one more thing, I had to give, you could tell that he cares about his craft, just because of the cleanup with his footwork. And not only that, he's changing plays at the line. Did we had seen that? I don't think I'd seen that up until now. No. Maybe it happened once or twice before. He was changing lines at the line of scrimmage. That Adonai Mitchell down the sideline jump ball, like they swapped to that. Yeah. That's wow. That's a big brain. That's adult football right there, and that wins national championships. That wins conference championships.
Yeah, and Sark did a great job of easing Quinn and really the whole team into the game. Just like easy passes, not going for the home run right away. And you could tell Quinn got in rhythm pretty fast. And he probably was already locked in. He probably would have been on point anyways if they went deep right away. But I like how they were getting that quick game all night, at least in the first quarter, just getting Bam on the ropes. Then they went kind of deep on him. And, of course, it hit pay dirt, of course.
Do we want to stay on the offensive side of the ball, or do we want to bounce around a bit to defense?
Yeah, let's give some props to the O-line. I mean, we were nervous after that Rice game.
The biggest question mark.
Yeah, they sleptwalk versus Rice. And Rice apparently is good. They beat Houston, which is a Big 12 team, who beat UTSA. So Rice is
shit.
Yeah. And of the O-line, man, shout out to Devon Campbell, man. He looked good after looking suspect against Rice. And then obviously Cole Hudson, he had the highlight plays where he was pancaking some kids out there. And it was just so surreal to see like our O-line just making Bama look like a Big 12 team, like not like Bama used to be. And these are like Dallas Turner, like these are dudes that were just,
these guys are going to be picks, man. They're going to be good defensive plays.
Kool-Aid McKinstry, for example, was just getting picked on all night by like Jatavion or whoever was on him. Like he probably lost some money tonight, this weekend, Kool-Aid. So the O-line, physicality, Jatavion himself, Jesus, legacy game.
What a man.
When he cut back.
Yeah. I thought he was going to make it. I was like, oh, shoot.
Dude, I was like, what tight ends are doing this but like 3 other ones?
That was epic.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
That was amazing, man. So yeah, the whole offense brought it, and it makes Quinn just more comfortable. I mean, we still had some drops, need to clean those up, but we also had some really good tough catches too to make up for them. So, man, the offense brought it, and Sark was in his bag with the play calling.
Bro, Cole Hudson, no swag, just bare hands, no gloves, no tape, just bulldozing people. Bro, awesome. You're a maniac. You're a maniac, dude. I know his fingers were swollen after that game, dude. Just manhandling people. And also like we had a bunch of drops, like, and we didn't let it affect us. Jonathan Brooks was a big part of ending this game.
Yeah,
huge part of ending this game. You would not think that he had a dropped touchdown in the first quarter. Like we've seen what happens to a dropped open touchdown or close to it.
Ingram.
Deontay was out of the LSU game. He was done. He was shook. Jonathan Brooks not only recovered and saved our lives with that Quinn fumble, or misread of, like, he didn't even have it. He just never had it.
Two fumbles.
Yeah, it was two fumbles. Yes.
First quarter, they didn't count it as a fumble, but
no,
he still recovered
great
it.
Superhero shit, bro. Stuff that, like, you go the extra mile to save your team, and then on top of that, running hard and icing the game by himself with the help of the O-line for 7 minutes, and it was over. And then getting that touchdown, like, resolve. Same thing with the receivers. Worthy missed a touchdown, got a bomb, had a great game. Jatavion Sanders missed a block that could have sent Worthy down up the middle. God, that was a touchdown. Comes back and is rumbling down the field. You would not think that this team, the way they played in the second half, made so many big time mistakes. And as a whole, on this, and just want to kind of finish this with my thoughts on the offense. So one of the first times I was like, Sark came out better in the second half. Sark did not stick to something. He didn't do stupid stuff. He didn't try to get cute with it. He had a plan. I don't know. I'm seeing growth from this whole offense, and it's beautiful.
Massive. And yeah, you couldn't understate the mentality, like you said, of even when shit happened, they bounced right back. Every single player.
Old teams fumble it, man. It's over.
Yeah, I can't think of a single player that had a bad game, offense and defense, and we're about to get into defense, but still. And if they did have a bad play, they all recovered, which is so, like, that is a complete 360 turnaround from 2 seasons ago. This team was defined by having players that would one play. I mean, God, Sark's first year. I mean, if one thing went wrong,
they were giving up all over the place,
unravel like crazy, and the complete opposite, which shows development of the players, shows development of the coaches. Everything's going in the right direction as far as that's concerned. So just incredible.
Amen.
Yeah, man. I mean, speaking to that, when Milroe connected to Jermaine Burton on that big touchdown bomb, we were all looking around like, here we go. This is it. Texas blowing it. Moral victory, maybe, if we're lucky.
I felt it in my stomach, dude.
Yeah, like we've seen this before. We had our chances. We wasted them. We're going to lose this game.
Was that the one where the receiver like ran through the entire defense and we like ran into each other and stuff? Or was that
no? That was the first touchdown.
That one was bad too. I mean, that
this is with the broken play and Milrose scrambling to the left or something.
Yeah,
and he just hits a bomb over Jaron Thompson. I think it's Jaron Thompson.
They took the lead, like, going into the fourth quarter, and within like a minute and 12 seconds left, we were back up by double digits. Like, just touchdown immediately, interception immediately, touchdown again, and like that's the type of stuff you see at like championship teams. Like, we're not losing this game, and from there on, we dominated the fourth quarter. Besides that one play Trevor was talking about, where we just like couldn't tackle for whatever reason, but still a flawless fourth quarter, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. Defense. Let's swap over. Defensive line was lights out. That is the best defensive line I may have ever seen at Texas. It may be better than some of our championship teams. I'm not kidding. That was incredible performance. I already mentioned Ethan Burke, David Benda. I mean, David Benda's not defensive line, but Ethan Burke, holy crap. I mean, that guy made a statement in this game. Like, again,
that was one of those guys we were just hoping, man. Like, maybe you get a little out of him.
Yeah,
maybe get a little something.
Is he ready?
Looking like Aiden Hutchinson up there, man.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet saying, they like had the stat line of Ethan Burke, like, and the end of the tweet said, "Is Ethan Burke the best edge rusher in the nation?" Like, dude, this was like a 3-star out of West, like a lacrosse guy. And
he was a Virginia or Maryland lacrosse commit or some shit.
Dude, like this staff knows what they're doing. We have grown-ups running this team, and the culture is healthy. You can just see it. If you know it when you see it, we just see it everywhere.
Byron Murphy, Devondre Sweat, both of them doing the dirty work. I mean, they did not have like the big. I mean, Murphy, I feel like, had a big tackle for loss. Sweat may have, but I mean, if you were like really paying attention, like they were Beginning of the game was a little
grinding.
shaky. Beginning of the game, Bama was definitely kind of having their way with running the ball.
Yeah.
But really after the first quarter, I feel like it was game over.
Byron Murphy was taking on some serious double teams all night.
Oh, yeah.
Like powering through it and like splitting and catching running backs by the ankles. Like it was crazy.
Matt, I don't know. You're an NFL guy. Like, how is Byron Murphy and Sweat? Like, how are these not NFL like high draft picks? Like, these dudes look like monsters, at least from what I've seen.
I mean, it's all going to come down to this year. All you need is one season. All you need is one season, and I think it's going to be this.
They
season.
will be.
They keep playing like they're gonna. That's the best O line they're gonna go up against. Like other teams in the Big 12 might have more seniority, but talent wise, no man. Everyone else is gonna have to be worrying about them. I think there's also just the fact that those guys have grown. I mean, Sweat was always a big guy, but like he seems like a wall now. And then Byron Murphy seems like literally looks like a bull. So like like those, we're lucky. Those two guys in particular are the signs of we found the guys, we found development. Because those guys were just chilling. They were just journeyman D linemen 2-3 years ago. We were just like, yeah, Byron Murphy's kind of cool. Sweat's kind of cool when his name comes up on the Jumbotron. But like it's nothing serious. Like we were more Coburn and what's his face? I forgot his name already. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, Ojimo. All those guys.
Ojimo, yeah. Like those were like our senior. Those are like our best guys. Sweat and Murphy were just kind of filling in. Those guys are legit dudes that terrorize people. And then you just have Alfred Collins coming in, just for rotation and rest.
Broughton
looked good.
No,
too.
Broughton too. Yes, I'm excited just to be able to add pieces around them this year, like Burke. Like just like all we need is like one more guy on there to pop off, and we're cooking, man.
Sorrell played good. Finkley played good, and some of the young guys got in there too, like Bledsoe and Chris Ross. I think they were, disrupting the pocket themselves. So yeah, just across the board, there's a lot of depth, and that gave them a problem.
We are missing one guy that needs to be named. The coming out party for Anthony Hill was electric. Dude. That guy is going to be a monster. He's so good. I mean,
so fast,
physical. Oh, and I was a little worried when he did that celebration where he ran all the way to the end zone. I'm like, don't get a flag.
I thought that was Flag City, dude.
If this was the Big 12, if this was a Big 12 game, that would have been a big flag. But nonetheless, that was cool as hell that he was just giving it to the Bama fans.
Dude, he was giving it to the crowd, bro.
Oh, it was great.
I don't know. I'm like, he was mad.
Yeah. Don't do that again.
No, dude.
It looked cool.
No, I love how he was like I loved how he was like unleashed in the second quarter. I mean, the second half. Like, he didn't really play that big of a role, and all of a sudden, here comes the freshman phenom to ice the game. There was that one drive, I think it's the one where he had the 2 sacks, or one where like he caught Milroe, like he went around a block or something and caught Milroe in the pocket, and it was like a quick 3 and out, just a quick 3 and out, all created by Anthony Hill's pressure. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh god.
He makes it look easy. Like Micah Parsons, his bend around the edge and his speed is just so natural. And like that was the comp. But now we're actually seeing it. And he's only a freshman, and you can tell he's got the athletic motor. Like that's NFL player as a freshman.
That's a motor.
Yeah, you can.
That defense has a motor. That's so cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Harold Perkins was last year, but this guy's actually a linebacker body. He's not like a DB playing linebacker. So it's
so true.
Thank you, A&M, for him. He's great.
Yeah, man. Thanks for screwing that up.
I thought about that too. Yeah, that was huge. But yeah, big performance. Big performance.
Yeah, and aside from Anthony Hill, all the linebacker core really played well. I mean, Jalen Ford, of course, is great always. But the thing that was most shocking, and Trevor
couldn't hang on to that interception though.
Yeah,
I gotta say, that would have been a big moment.
Yeah, for sure. That would have swung the game a lot. But David Benda is a guy that like Trevor said, a journeyman. He's the definition of a journeyman. I'm surprised he's still here. He's like a 5th-year senior.
Yeah.
He's kind of always been like second, third string, low 4-star out of high school. He looked like Devin White out there on some plays, just like pursuing the carriers, the quarterback. That little like Matt drill he did when he got, cut block and then
Bounced up, dude.
Sack Milrow. Like, this is the development we're talking about. And it was surreal to see. I was like, is that really David Benda out there? And man, that brought it. The whole linebacker core, man, they're awesome.
That's a grown man. I mean, I think they showed a picture of like a graphic of him this week or something.
Yeah,
he looks like he's so like 40 or something. Like, he just looks really. I mean, he is like a super senior, but still, I mean, he's someone you don't want to mess with. Very cool to see. Like we said earlier in the episode, I mean, we really didn't have many hopes for Benda. It was more like, hope he's serviceable,
Yeah.
Hope he can make a few plays.
Yeah, he's showing out. So, and he looked pretty good against Rice too. So I'm excited. Him and Ford together, when they're hitting on all cylinders, that's a lethal combo. Secondary, Madrid, you have any thoughts? It's pretty
yeah.
Pretty good, I mean, overall.
Pretty great overall. I mean, I think it was one of those instances where our front seven was doing so much of the work where that they didn't get a lot of stress on them, except for a few times, obviously, but they were there when we needed. Jahdae Barron looks so cool out there. The way he plays, the way I forget where I saw it, but I think it was in an interview. Was it yesterday or the day before? He was saying on his pick that they saw that on film. They were like, "Yeah, that's easy money right there," and they did it. He said that Bama ran it earlier in the game, and he realized that all he had to do was just play up to it and anticipate a little more, and it was going to be there, and it was. And the fact that we got ball hawks again, like legit ball hawks, not just like one stud out there, is great. Like, we have a unit up there, and you can tell that they're really engaged in trying to learn and trying to break down every team. Hell, I think it was yesterday, or no, it was Monday. Jahdae Barron posted an Instagram story of them. They're already looking at Wyoming film. Like, they're putting in the work. They're smart out there. You got to be smart to play the secondary too, especially in this day and age of football. It's so fast. You have so much pressure to not only play a ball, like cover a speedy athlete on the outside, but cover him to the point where you're not getting PI calls. And they're learning. They're doing well. Sometimes I forget that Jalen Catalan is on this team, and I can only imagine his growth. Like him, he's gonna come on. He's gonna come on later in the season, but I'm glad he's back there. You could tell that he's that perfect center fielder, adult in the room back there. And then Jared Thompson, you know what, man? I'll give him his flowers. That guy used to be the bane of my existence, but he's a senior or super senior, I think now. And he showed up big. I'm glad that he has attracted some of that development his way too, because it was a long way coming with that guy. He used to be blown coverage city, but he knows what he's doing now. PK just has a way with his DBs, man. He knows how to put them in positions to thrive, and we just got a good little stable there. Malik Muhammad looks great. All of them. I can't wait to Derek Williams becomes a thing. I'm really excited about having quality depth there and future stars.
Yeah.
Myers, anything to add?
I just want to shout out Ryan Watts. He played great.
I was going to say that.
Oh,
yeah.
Best DB in coverage that we had, I think, all night. And so physical.
Easily.
And also Catalan, you mentioned him, but he came down and made some really good plays in the run game, like sending running backs to the sideline and preventing big gains. And that's what he's known for, man. He's like the most physical, fast downhill safety. And you notice it, like when you're watching the game, it's like, who's this blur coming downhill? It's always Cattle on.
The missile, dude.
Yeah, he's really a missile. So we'll only see more and more of him because he didn't play much against Rice. He played a lot more this week against Bama, and I'm sure it'll just be continuing to get him acclimated going into Big 12 play with more and more of a role. So he's good, man. He's an X factor. He helps our defense.
Yeah. You know what? I wasn't even going to shout him out, but I'm going to shout him out anyway. Keaton Crawford needs a shout out.
Yes.
He played a great game. I mean, he's been like a special teams hero for us. He was the one that downed that awesome punt by our new punter. I need to learn his name.
Sanborn.
Yeah, something Born with an S. Sanborn. Yeah. Great punt by him. That was reminiscent of Michael Dixon back in the day. That was like a Texas Bowl when the way they tracked it down and got him in great position. But yeah, on defense too. I mean, he was playing some pretty big snaps and looked great. So it's great to see him continue to develop and get better. Probably his best game to his career. Yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, literally, I feel like everyone showed up in this game. There wasn't anyone that just didn't look good and played poorly, you know. Maybe there were certain players that didn't stand out, you know, as much as others that we mentioned, but I think all around it was a very complete performance. Very sound game.
Yeah, I can't recall a play where there were a couple where they got deep on us, but that's going to happen when you're playing 5 stars at Bama every now and then, like speed. But down the field, I mean, there was like maybe a couple over the middle balls that were kind of open, but even a lot of the balls that he completed over the middle were like very covered and like just good catches, good throws.
Oh, they were down instantly. We were running to the tackle. Like, it's beautiful.
There was no one running wide open ever. Like when we had those Charlie teams, man, it was just embarrassing. It would just happen all the time.
Yeah.
None of
we're
that
just chasing people, like we're looking like we're just following people around there.
Yeah. So man, it's just we're not used to seeing this, and it's everything that we've heard in this offseason just appears to be true so far, and it's wonderful. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Big picture wise, the defense. So I think everyone knew that if Bama got to run the ball and throw when they needed to, or when it made sense, or not even when they needed to, but when it made sense to take a shot or something, like it was gonna be wraps. Like if they're Jace McKellen, and all their guys started getting 5 yards a pop on us, then that was the way for Bama to like really, you know, get back to their roots and establish their dominance on us. That defense made them uncomfortable. It made Jalen Milroe a quarterback who was already kind of shaky on accuracy have to throw on the run a lot and make him pay for getting locked on to his receivers. We made Jalen Milroe look like a developmental QB, like someone that needs to learn how to go through his progressions a little better. And I'm glad we were able to exploit that, because as soon as that happened, that talented 350 pounds across the board, like some of those freshmen look like freshmen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how talented you are, that's a freshman out there. And we made that happen. Like, if they got to run the ball, which was probably their strength, like those, I think, or if they got to run the ball more effectively, I think it would have played into that O-line strengths. But now you got 2 tackles. I think both tackles are freshmen, right? At least the one Proctor is, right? I don't know. But anyways, having to pass protect for 5-8 seconds, like that's a big deal. Like that's a long time for a new guy's first big game like that. So props to the defense for really like never making them feel comfortable. I think that was a big part of it.
Yeah. One more point that I want to bring up, and it's not about defense. It's beyond the game. Anyone else have any final in-game thoughts we want to share before we go to kind of concluding thoughts
No,
on
you
Bama?
good, man.
Yeah, you got it.
I guess we did not mention Adonai. I'm saying that wrong. Adonai Mitchell?
Adonai.
Adonai. Yeah. Got to get used to saying that because he was a star in the waiting.
Real quick, his I don't know if you guys saw the video of him catching that whoever's in the end zone filming this with an iPhone. Good on you. He catches his touchdown, he rolls over, he says, "Remember me," and kisses the crowd. That's fairy tale type stuff, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Have the confidence to do that and just think of that on the bam. Okay.
On the one that iced the game, like he iced the game against Georgia and the Natty or against Alabama and the Natty with Georgia. So he's like Robert Ory, man. He's just like a championship player, clutch player that just tops of championship best teams, and it's awesome, man. We're lucky to have him, and he's just throw it up to AD in a clutch moment, and he's gonna go catch it.
What I think what I love most about him, and this is like an underrated component because obviously he's talented, obviously he's massive, fast, can catch the ball, gonna be our, star receiver. I mean, him and Worthy, I'm very curious to see how the season shakes out between those two and Sanders, like how the distribution goes, and really if Nair's gonna touch the field. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion. Because I don't know if he even played against Bama. But what I like most about Mitchell is he's not afraid to be the bad guy. Him dancing to Dixieland Delight is the coolest, coldest. I mean, it wasn't cold. It was fun.
Yeah, it was smooth as hell, dude. Unbothered.
Yeah. It just showed you that the moment wasn't too big for him. He's built for stuff like this, and he embraces it. This is something that, I mean, Myers in particular, I feel like has been calling for this for ever since we've started the show. When are our players going to embrace being the bad guy? Because we always want to be the good guy. We always want to be like, oh, Texas is great, classy, clean program. Everyone likes us because secretly
you gotta be
like
mean, dude. This is football.
Yeah, he's mean. And he's like, he's got the swag that our team has been desperately missing since we've been winning football games. I mean, for the better part of the decade, we have not had someone with just swag on offense.
It's very Vince Young-ish, just the way he carries himself in big moments. Yeah. Just nonchalant, but just freaking nails when it matters. Like it was very Vince Young-esque.
We've been missing that so bad. So that plays aside, and all the great catches he had and all that. That was probably one of my favorite things that I saw. Is it's like, okay, we got one of those guys on this team. Like
that's sick.
That's a championship team when you have players like that. We haven't had that. So,
speaking of, what's up? No, just speaking to that meanness, that mini movie that they put out today was phenomenal, and they had the quality on the microphone, the audio was great. I texted you guys just an edited clip of it where Jake Majors coming out the field says, "You gotta love that shit, man," and I was like, "Oh my god." He looks so huge. I'm like, dude, that looks like an 05 line. Like that looks like those linemen looked like trucks and were menacing. And I haven't seen that in a long time on my Texas football team. And I was like, yeah, man, don't mess with that guy. That guy's gonna move. That guy's in the business of moving humans, other large humans. So yeah, just to have that energy of like, yeah, I'm the big guy here. I'm fucking gonna go. We're gonna go take care of business like it's nothing. That's the team. That's what a good team is.
It's a new mentality. The whole mentality has shifted, and not only are we confident, collected, but we got that swag back, and we're just big. I mean, all the analysts or people that were at the game are like, we're no different than Bama. I mean, in terms of
truly,
we're on that level. We're there. I mean, we gotta keep winning to prove it. I'm not saying we've arrived completely. This game could turn out to be not much, but I mean, that was a massive test, and I mean, we looked just as good, if not better. probably better than Alabama did. Which brings me to kind of a concluding thought about this game. I don't think this is a bad Alabama team. Soon as
I don't
we
think it's a bad
lost,
Alabama team either.
soon as we
No.
lost, the narrative, rather than like, oh, Sark can't do it, it was like we're going to get
Preach,
burned
brother.
anyway. Anyway, with anything that happened, we were going
Win
to
or
find a way to
lose,
get
we were
burned.
going to lose the narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Texas can't do it. Sark's not going to work. Blah, 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 blah. Instead, we win by double digits. Could have been worse. And I'm curious what would have happened if we won by even more. Again, very easily could have happened. But immediately, rather than, wow, look at Texas, like they're ready. Sark's completely changed this program, which you got a little bit of that. But it was a lot of like, Bama's falling apart. This is the end of the Saban era. Jalen Milroe is horrible. These players are all bad. Alabama can't recruit anymore. That's the worst take I've ever seen. Like
That's the worst. That's the best. That's the most blue chips on a
they
roster
lead,
right there.
I know.
Get that
They're the
out of
most
there.
they're the most talented team in college football. Like, what are you talking about that they can't get the star players? Like they're all, I will say, they can't coach as well as they used to.
The staffs are different. That's the X factor right there.
Staffs are different, and I think play calling. They need to change their play calling.
Reese.
They need to change
Their
play calling's bad.
He's all stressed up there.
Milroe is not a bad quarterback. He's not good, but he's not. You can mask his deficiencies if you just call the right offense. This offense is not currently catered to his strong suits. He's got a beautiful deep ball. He's really good at that. And he's a great runner. So I don't think we saw a single QB draw. I'm like, what are we? What?
I think we saw one. We saw
maybe
one.
Maybe one.
Yeah.
But run the damn ball with Milroe. Like, what are you doing? And then
where
like
the read options, where the speed options at? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
You can, and we'll see what happens. Maybe Bama will adjust and change. I hope they do. Texas fans should hope they do, because if Bama does go on a slide, that makes this win a lot less impressive and helps us out less at the end of the year. But I just don't give me the narrative that Bama's now a bad team and this is the beginning of the end. And like, come on, just admit that Texas did something really special that most teams don't do and looked really good. And the Bama fans too are just bitching and moaning. This is the end, whining about it. They're like, we can't believe we lost to Texas.
It's like, oh, it's your first time? First time?
You guys have a good team. Like you just got beat by a better team. Like can two things not exist at once? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
No, absolutely. They want to put the nails in the coffin on Saban, and it's like, relax. He's probably the only structure there that keeps him like at 10 wins this year. Like, don't go too hard after that guy. Like, I think also he deserves some kind of grace, and some kind of leeway. Like, it's Nick Saban, man. Come on. But yeah, they want like most people are salty because we did it. We're the ones that broke the street at Bryant Denny. We came in and did it. It wasn't Ole Miss. It wasn't Auburn. It wasn't all these SEC toting, like SEC's the best, being carried by Bama's reputation. It was us. We did it, and that's always that's anytime we're involved, just know it's negative. But like going back to what we were saying, embrace that shit. Embrace it. Be like, yeah, you're gonna hate us, so we're gonna come smash you in the mouth. And they finally embraced that.
Mm-hmm. Amen. That's beautifully said.
What was the reaction like, Myers, when? Because you were in Tuscaloosa. I mean, I'm assuming you went out. You're around some Alabama fans. What was the reaction after the game?
Yeah, what was it afterwards like?
And I saw a couple little fights going on between some upset Bama fans and some Texas fans, but for the most part, they were like very humble. But you feel bad for them because in Alabama, you can tell, like, and in the South, like they take college football a lot more than we do in Texas, or at least like in the cities that we live in. And you could see like they were hurt. And then, but they were very classy. I mean, some dude offered us like drinks like on the way. I was like, congrats on the win, get home safe. We have free beer at our tailgate. Come get as much as you want. And they were all
Yeah.
like that like, the whole time. Like beforehand, they were like, welcome to Tuscaloosa. I hope y'all are enjoying it. And very classy, man. There was a couple little frat boys, of course. That's every school though. But
Yeah.
no, they were pretty humble. They're pretty humble. I was surprised for a team that hasn't lost a home game since Joe Burrow.
Still wild to say out loud. That's just crazy.
And then before Joe Burrow, it'd been like 4 years before that too. So really, that's like
That's
that 50.
crazy.
Yeah. So they just don't lose in Bryant-Denny often, and they kind of knew they were going to lose the whole time, and except for that one brief moment where they took the lead. Like it was pretty obvious that Texas was the better team. I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, just just like back to like the streak and everything. Joe Burrow and Quinn Ewers, like that's what it takes to go win there in its current form. So Bama's still there. Bama's still there. It just takes that type of QB performance, that type of overall team performance to do it, and that's a pretty high standard. So not only should we be ultra proud of that performance and that win, but it should serve as notice that like only good teams do this. Only teams with studs at QB that can sling it ice cold can do this. So just for narrative purposes, of course.
Yeah, we're an average quarterback away from losing that game.
Absolutely.
Probably. I mean, our defense was really balling in. But yeah, if we didn't have a good quarterback, if we turned the ball over, like no turnovers for us.
Huge.
Granted, we fumbled a few times, but we're able to recover those. Also huge. But yeah, if we didn't come buttoned up and playing at our best, then we would have lost that game. So they're not a bad team.
Yeah.
Done with that narrative until they prove that they are, which they could.
They have to go like 8-4, 7-5 before I believe it. Before I even start considering it, to be honest with you.
And the SEC isn't even that good this year. Like a lot of people are getting upset and having subpar performances. So I think they'll be okay. Let's transition to end this video. Texas does play a game this week. Back in Austin, they're playing the Wyoming Cowboys. They're currently a 28.5-point favorite to win the game. We're going to give our predictions. We're not going to talk too much about Wyoming just because we're not going to. We'll talk more about the Big 12 teams once we get into Big 12 play. But Madrid, how about you? Share some thoughts that you have about this game.
Yeah, I'll lead us off. I'll give my prediction too at the end of this.
Sure.
So it's one of those things that we always know. You come off an exhilarating win or a very emotional, passionate win, and you're always gonna go, how are they gonna look? Is this sustainable? Now, are we on upset alert? No, I don't think so. I think we'll win this game pretty handedly. But for us to be where we want to be, where we want that consistency and that national championship roadmap, we have to go out, and this has to happen for me to believe it. We need to score like 28, 30, 35 points in the first half, like close to it. I need to be buffering 30 points because this team is not good. This team's not in. Maybe take that back. They're good for where they're at in their conference and everything, respectfully. But like this level, nah, man, not even close. I'm almost positive that quarterback they have was like his average depth of throw last year was like 5 yards, like ridiculously low. We should be able to get after these guys. So I really need us to put that gas on immediately, and that's how you know. That's how you know. That being said, 28.5-point favorite. That is a lot of points. I like us. I say we push 50 this game. I like where we're at. Give me us 49, 17. I'm gonna leave it there.
Nice.
Yeah,
I don't think we kick field goals.
Good, good. Yeah, Jalen Ford tweeted out like the day after the game, like this is all rat poison, like dot dot dot
That's a leader right there, man.
to go. And I think, and Sark's been saying good things about what they're doing this week in practice. They're locked in. They've put the buried the game ball, as Mac Brown would say. So I think they take it upon themselves to kind of prove that they're not a fluke, that they're gonna be focused on Wyoming. And at least this game, I expect them to show up because it's such an obvious letdown spot. So I think they will show up, and it's a night game in DKR. The new lights are being debuted, and it's supposed to be a sellout. I think, of course, it should be. I mean, top 5 team coming off that big win. So I think we have a great, just showcase of this team, and hopefully Quinn gets like a nice 5 touchdown stat line, and we get that Heisman campaign even more revved up, and maybe see some Nayor action, see some of these young guys on the D line get more involved. But I mean, Wyoming beat Texas Tech, so they're obviously not horrible. So you need to be ready for some freaky business if it does happen. But no, Texas wins big. I have 52-10 Texas.
Nice. The only good thing that at least that I'm hoping will happen and be prevalent throughout the season is Sark's previous 2 seasons have been riddled with upsets and us playing down to the level of the competition to the point that us Texas fans have like serious PTSD anytime our team goes down. Like we're like, oh, it's over. Now we feel more confident after Alabama because our team looks entirely different, but that's still in the back of our heads, which it's got to be in the players' heads too. And hopefully for the better. Well, I say that because I hope that means that going forward, our coach, our staff, and our players understand that if they don't play up to the level that they can and should be, that they can get upset. And how it's currently shaken out right now, thinking big picture, thinking playoff, because you beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa, you're gonna be, you have the potential to make the playoff. Like that's not
you
like
had the quality win, man.
Like and looked so good in it. It's like, okay, this is now new goal. I mean, focus on game after game and Big 12 championship, but like playoff, like that is a very attainable goal. I think at least. And yeah, it's you gotta play up and I think that our team understands that. I hope that these previous 2 years of disappointment and playing down to the level of the competition and having that narrative written over your head will be beneficial to where we come out rest of the season gangbusters ready to go rather than sleepwalking, kind of like we were against Rice. I have us winning 44-17. I think that just math, but I think that barely covers. It may be a little bit under the spread, actually. I think it's a point under. But I don't know. I think Wyoming will put up a little bit of a fight. And I do think that our offense might be a little slow at times, but still be dominant enough to where I see us getting a big lead, pulling out starters, hopefully get some Blake Murphy action, maybe get Arch in the mix. We'll see. And then Wyoming maybe getting a touchdown at the end of the game, make it close, that kind of a thing. So dominant performance. Maybe the score doesn't indicate it, but I do expect us to run away with this win pretty easily. And I'd love to see more. I'd love to see kind of like Myra's prediction and just let's blow them out and keep doing that, throughout the rest of our Big 12 play, because I think I mentioned it earlier, but Big 12 is not looking great this year. And I'm starting to worry that with the Pac-12 looking as good as they do and Florida State looking great, you have these other conferences that are having really quality teams rise to the top. So our room for error, even though we beat Alabama, is kind of it's smaller than it is for some of these other other conferences that have a lot of quality teams, like Pac-12. USC loses to Utah, and we lose to Baylor, that Utah loss is going to look a lot better than a Baylor loss, even though we beat Alabama. So there's not room for error, unfortunately, with the way that the conference is shaping out, unless these other conferences start beating each other up and losing to each other, kind of like I predicted before the season started. But I did not anticipate that Florida State would be this good. And so you got Florida State, you got Michigan, you got Georgia. I don't know if any of those teams are going to slip up. So really, you're kind of fighting for that fourth or a spot between those three teams, at least at the moment. So what I'm saying is we got to win. We got to win every game. And hopefully with this game, it starts that mentality of go out, dominate, don't play down to the level of competition and blow this out. Kind of like 2005 Texas. I mean, they beat Ohio State on the road. Big game for them. They didn't dominate Ohio State, but they won pretty convincingly. And at that point, that kind of started the avalanche of domination. Hopefully we see a replay to that. I think it can happen.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, cool, guys. That was a good show. Thank y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
Appreciate you.
We'll be around making videos when we can. But we definitely need to get this one out. A win over Alabama is totally worthy of doing its own video for, which is pretty much what we did. So we'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, all the usual, and it'll be an interesting season. This is the most exciting that it's been over here in a while. So horns up. Catch you guys around. Thank y'all for watching.